Once every 1,000 years, a hero will rise.
I can't do this. Someone cue the real intro. What's going on, everybody? I assume if you've clicked on the video, you already know who I am. Icon pop on the screen. And, I'm gonna be real honest with you guys. I've only just recently gotten into, like, actually playing Yu-Gi-Oh! So, I'm basically a noob. But, I definitely hope that you guys, enjoy this video. So, I believe it was only a couple weeks ago when I had started playing, Duel Links, and, essentially in that one, the only deck that I really used was one that consisted of a Stardust Dragon, strategy, and, it was okay, you know, I felt pretty good, but 5 times out of 10, I would lose matches, and, I always wanted to change it up, but like I just really liked the Stardust Dragon. So when I started playing Masters, I was like, alright, I'm not going back to it. I'm gonna pick something that like I've never seen before. And that was a mistake. So the deck that I'm using now is a hero deck, and essentially all the power that you're gonna get from this revolves around having polymerization cards. I'll get it right one day. But polymerization cards, they allow you to combine 2 monsters that you have together. And there are a couple different cards that kind of do the same effect, whether it be from your hand, or your field, or even the graveyard. And I didn't exactly read all the cards correctly, so I thought that they all just did the same thing. And yeah, if you've ever played Yu-Gi-Oh, most cards that have effects like that, there is a gimmick that makes it different from another card. And that's what kind of makes it interesting, because you can't just, you know, stack up 8 of the same card. I think for any card in the game, you can only have a maximum of 3. And I was just like, oh, they added these cards with different names so that you could do the same thing and, you know, not get, like, in trouble for having more than 3 of the same card. But, no, different effects. And, it really just shows you how much, like, you need to understand what each card in your deck does, so that when you get it, you know what you should be aiming for, and less of, you know, what you just want to do, like what you plan to do when you add that card to your deck from the start. Because I found one, and I thought it was super cool. It's one of the elemental heroes, and he's like an ice, it's like the ice hero or something. I'll probably put the card up on the screen so that you guys can see it. And I really wanted to use that card, but I had no clue how hard those conditions would be with the cards that I put in my deck, because I wasn't reading everything. So I was just like, oh, this card seems like it would be good, that one seems like it would be good, so let me just toss them all in here, and I'm sure it'll work out. And like, granted, the cards did align every so often, but I had so many cards that like I felt like I really didn't need, or that didn't work well in the deck, where I really could have swapped it out for something else. And if anyone does use, you know, this same setup or something close to it, it's not bad per se. It's just that you really need to understand, again, like what cards do what. Especially like in this fight for myself, I underestimated how strong the opponent would be. So I was like, oh, if I can get cards out, I can, polymerize my cards together and then I'll be set. And yeah, that did not happen. Like right now I have cards that are on the field that could be used for polymerization, and I'm looking through my extra deck at those cards, and I didn't realize that I needed the polymerization card like in my hand to use the effect. Yeah, like definitely like a noob. And I did forget to mention that this is post commentary, so if I seem to like, have like too much foreknowledge of things, or not seem surprised by why something happened, that's the reason why. I just find it easier to come back and watch and then talk about it. Also, it helps me kind of see the mistakes I made and kind of correct it for next time, or see which cards kind of work better and which ones I don't really need. And yeah, especially with this deck, because I just started the game and I don't have a whole lot of the different hero type cards. So as I was picking and choosing like which ones I wanted, the options were a little more slim than what it may usually be when people get around to building their own decks. So I definitely felt like there were certain cards where I would have included them if I had the option to. But again, I just started this, I think I had only been playing this game for like 2 or 3 days, so I definitely had not accumulated as many cards or that much knowledge, because again, I only used the Stardust Dragon deck before, so like all these other decks were brand new to me. But just in terms of like the learning curve for myself, this deck actually really isn't that bad at getting monsters onto the field. It was just that I had no clue what I was doing with them. So I just kept sending out monsters that were, getting killed, and I was just like, oh, I can do something, right? I can polymerize these. Like at this point I realized, okay, I need the polymerization card, but I also need to have monsters on the field. So I just kept tossing them out there and like waiting for it to pop up, and I should have played slightly more defensively, which I kind of started to here, but I think it might have been too little too late, because you may not be able to tell, but like at this point I can still kind of sort of defend. If he brings out any big monster, like, I'm just absolutely done for. So that's the reason why I got my Clayman out there with the 2000 defense, is because he had nothing strong enough to kill me at that moment. So I was thinking, yeah, I'm in a good spot, like I can take some time, accumulate some more cards until I find something that works. But again, like I think it was just too little too late all over again, because it gets back to my turn here, and I drew the card Smashing Ground, which essentially destroys the opposing monster with the most defense that's face up. So if I save it for when he summons something really big, out of the monsters that he has right now, it would most likely have the most defense, so I could destroy that card, and that would save me, maybe for the rest of the game, because if he's struggling, like, I thought he was going to pull out a bigger monster way sooner, so like, I think he was struggling to find the right monster that he needed. And again, like, I'm a noob when it comes to Yu-Gi-Oh! So I saw what his cards were, but that doesn't necessarily mean I knew what kind of deck he was running. Like, what his big creature for that deck is, what it can do. And ultimately, I do find that to be one of the beauties of playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Online, is that you run into so many, random people that, like, everyone is always running a different kind of deck. Like, yes, you'll run into, like, the meta, but because the game just came out and not necessarily everybody has, gotten the chance to really build up to those decks, everyone's just kind of running, like, what they have. And also, I'm in, bronze rank? I don't even think I'm at bronze yet. Like, I'm at the rookie stages. So, like, the people in that level, like, yeah, they might have meta decks, but after a couple fights, they rank up and you don't run into them anymore. So the beauty, again, in this game is, like, you'll keep running into decks that are completely new to you, but that's the same for them. So everyone is always having to, learn something new and adapt as things go on. But, no, I definitely feel like if I put a little more work into this deck, I can make it way more viable. And I mostly feel like just for the start of it, I did kind of brick, because there is a monster in the deck that allows me to draw a polymerization card, but I just hadn't run into it. And when I drew this card here, I felt like this was going to be like a major turning point. However, as I mentioned before, I was not reading all that clearly, and this is where the fine print comes into play. Because you can only use the card if you're using banished fusion materials. So there is another card that is included in this deck where I believe when you use that polymerization method, or the fusion summon method, what it does is it banishes those materials. So then you would use this card after that to essentially get like a double fusion summon. However, I had just started using this deck and I had not learned that that's how the cards were meant to flow together per se. So yeah, I just kind of panicked at the fact that it wasn't working, and then I as you'll see, I surrendered. But I definitely hope you guys enjoyed sort of my little like summarization. I can't say anything now. My summarization of an intro to Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Masters, and I guess I'll see you guys in the next